Okay, class is now in session, custodians. Mr. Cleaver, would you mind putting your newspaper down and listen? We've had some complaints that you've been reading the newspaper for the last 30 years and we can smell your bathrooms when we walk in your building and that's not good. Yeah. But anyway, class, let's get started. I had a viewer that asked me to talk about, being, let's see, how can I put this? Maybe not being treated right by supervisors or something like that. Well, I don't want this channel to be a gripe channel, and I don't want to bash administrators. Not going to do that. That's not what this channel is about. But I will hit on some areas to where I've had trouble with administrators or something like that in ways that I handle things. There's an appropriate way to handle people and things, and there's some inappropriate ways, and I don't always handle things right because I let my feelings, I let my frustrations, I let my anger get in the way, and that's not good. But this is what I want to do first. What I want to talk about today is we have a lot to take care of. A lot of areas, a lot of square footage, and a lot of things that we have to do. And what I want to do is talk about how to handle people, and I'm going to say people. I don't want to call certain names or point any certain group of people out, but we work with people that may think that, that they're the only ones in the building. And their area is the only one that needs to be cleaned because their area is all that they see. And I've had this happen before. Raymond, I'm glad you made it. That's the tardy bell, and just go ahead and have a seat. I'm glad you can make it. Just have a seat right back there. If you don't mind, just, pay attention. Thank you. Mr. Cleaver. Yeah, thank you. All right, again, what I want to do is this. I've had people, they say, well, what about my room? Or what about this? What am I going to get this? Can you do this for me? And they want all your attention. And it really takes a lot of your time, and it pulls away from things you're having to do. So I actually did this before, and I still do this to this day if I feel it's needed to. But I really made somebody think one time about this, and I've done this with administrators before. Not in a smart aleck way or anything, but it's just sometimes, we get tunnel vision. We get something on our mind, and we see something a certain way. We get busy, life gets hard, and we see things a certain way, and we don't want to, think about anybody else, or we're not thinking about anybody else but us. I do the same thing. It's just life, it's human, and that's what we do. So this is what I did. I said, okay, this is what you're wanting done, and you're demanding a whole lot of my attention. And I want you to think about something with me, okay? This is what I want you to think about. I want you to kind of think about that you're sitting in a auditorium, and there is a program going on, and it's all children, okay? Because we all relate to children here in our environment that we work in. So I want you to think about children. But not just to think about children, but I want you to think about your child, okay? When I do this, I want you to think about your child. Okay, say this is a stage right here, and you have to excuse my drawing because I'm not an artist. I can't do what's out there on that hall of that fine artistry work. I guess that's the reason I sweep and mop floors and clean toilets, because I'm not an artist. So, anyway, let's say that this is a stage full of kids, okay? And they're on the stage performing. And your child is on this stage. What do you see? You see, if you're a normal human being and you're a parent, you love your child, you see your child performing on that stage, okay? Just like any other parent would, okay? But I want you to take your thought pattern in a different direction, and that is this. I want you to think about the person that is teaching these children this program. Now, there may be solo parts and stuff like that in this program, but I want you to think about it as a broad thing that this conductor or this teacher or music teacher or instructor or whoever it may be, band director or whoever it may be, they have worked with this group of children. They don't see just your child, they see the whole group of children. And a lot of times in our profession, in school and different things, is that we sometimes are very likely, and I'm going to use this right here. I've always wanted to do this. Sorry. Anyway, I've always wanted to do this because, I'm not a teacher, but, why not? Is that right, Raymond? Yeah. Cleveland. All right, now, we do this sometimes, okay? Because we're human beings, we do this. But we face this in our line of work is that, when are you going to clean my area? Why ain't my area being cleaned? Why ain't you doing this for me? When are you going to do this for me? And I have a tendency that they see just themselves, okay? And I have to explain this little scenario to them just like this. I say, okay, you see your area. Let me use this. You see your area. But see, I don't see just your classroom. I don't see just your office. I don't see just what you need done. I have this whole campus, every classroom, every bathroom, every truck that has to be unloaded, every call I get for a kid being sick, every call I get for a commode being flooded over. I've got this whole area. I'm not concentrated just on one place. I have this whole area that I have to deal with. And I've done this before and people go, oh, they've really thought of it that way. And I want to say, yeah, I know. I've been like you before. I only see the one thing. Now, here's something that I want to tell you on the one thing that it's easy for us to do. Even cleaning our buildings, okay, it's easy for us to get focused now, tunnel vision on one thing. Bathrooms are huge. They're huge because we fight that so much. I don't care if you work in a small school, a big school, elementary school, high school, bathrooms are just tough. They are because they contain odor. When the humidity is high, when it rains, they're worse. The smell, it's just a constant thing to fight bathrooms to kind of keep it maintained. And we can get tunnel vision to that. And we can get tunnel vision on just cleaning classrooms, and we let other things go. And I had an older custodian. He's been a custodian for 35 years. He's actually the first custodian I worked with, and I worked with him for many years. And he is still a custodian, and he does an excellent job. I mean, he's not burnt out. He may be burnt out in some ways, but he still does a quality job, in what he does. And he told me one time that, he shared this with me. He said, you need to think about your building. If everything in your building getting touched at least once a week. And he says, I'm not talking about your air vents every week. So I'm not talking about, everything up high and, things that you do in the summer and holidays. He said, I'm not talking about that. He said, I want you to think about your windows. So I want you to think about rooms that don't get used that often, that's not that busy, or maybe it's a special classroom, or maybe it's an office area that you can't always get in there because there's a meeting in there or something's going on and you just can't get in there. He said, but you got to make sure that every part of your building, some way, somehow, gets cleaned once a week. Go outside and pick up in the parking lot once a week. And I'm like, hey. And I kind of adopted that idea from the beginning. And I've used that, and I've always remembered that, and it has helped me tremendously on being able to maintain and keep my building. Because guys, this is what we have to remember. And I've had to remember this, and we have to drill this in our head because we forget this. Is you're not going to keep up with this building. You're not. The only time you're going to keep up with this building is in the end of the summer when everything's been moved, it's been cleaned, it's been waxed, and it looks perfect and it's ready for school. But there's nobody here, and it's going to stay clean. That's the only time. Christmas break, you get everything cleaned. Everybody's gone. It's going to stay clean. But you know as well as I do, when them kids come back and that bell rings and they come in, everything's going to get blowed up. Everything that you do is going to get jacked up in just a few minutes. That's just the way it is. You can go clean a bathroom, you can walk down the hall, go do something, come back, and there's toilet paper and there's paper towels on the floor. You can clean a classroom, they come back from lunch, for 30 minutes later you walk by, there's stuff in the floor. That's just a job that we have. We are maintaining the building. We are moving dirt out and they bring dirt in. We take garbage out, they bring garbage in. Job security. You work here for 30 years, that's the way it's going to be. When you leave and you retire and they replace you, that's the way it's going to be. Hey, life's messy. We're here to clean it up. Okay? So, just remember that. Don't let it wear you out. Maintain it. That's what you're doing, is maintaining it. Keeping it clean. Keeping it clean. Keeping it clean where it looks good and kids can get educated. That's our job. Think as your kids. Think as the people here, your teachers, everybody. They're your customers, okay? It's just the way it is. So, one other thing I want to hit is this. Is I got evaluated several years ago, and I had an administrator that was kind of tough. And that administrator always wanted to know what I was doing. Always was questioning what I was doing, why I was doing it. Always wanted to know where I was at. Every minute of the day, wanted to put their thumb on top of everything I was doing, micromanage everything that I was doing. And I'm an old construction worker, okay? And that didn't work too good for me. I was working around men, and us men, if we had a problem or whatever, we'd hash it out. We'd go out there and fight it out, and 30 minutes later we eat lunch together and everything's good, and we didn't bring it back up. But working with different people and things, that doesn't always work. So I had my evaluation, was called in for my evaluation, my yearly evaluation, and it was good. 4s and 5s. I mean, it was great. But this was weighing hard on my mind, and I didn't like coming to work. It was hard, and I was frustrated and aggravated, and I was trying to please this person, and I couldn't do it. So you can tell by the pitch of my voice, it kind of still gets to me. So this is what I did. She said, "Is everything okay?" I just reached over there and I pushed the office door too, and I said, "No, it's not." And I told him, I said, you always want to know what I'm doing and where I'm at. And I'm not good with that. And I kind of explained this scenario. I have the whole area. I said, another thing is I said, if you look around my building and where I'm at, or my areas that I'm to take care of, you can tell if I'm working or not. You can tell whether somebody's working or not if you walk into their building. You can tell if they're doing their job, because it's going to be clean if they are. Unless it's field day or there's something really crazy going on, everything should be pretty well maintained if you're working. You are going to have those off days and those off times a year, but let's say 90% of the time, it's going to be up to par, okay? So, anyway, I just, expressed myself in a calm way, in a mild way, and just, I said, I just appreciate, that you wouldn't try to, question what I'm doing. And, I said, until you've been a custodian, and I said, and you've walked in these shoes, and I said, and worked the schedule, I said, you don't really understand it. I said, it'd be like me trying to make your classroom list for you, for your staff. And I said, and your teachers, and I said, I don't know how to do that. That's not my area. And I understand that they teach you certain things, how to deal with support personnel and different things, and when you get your degree. I said, but until you've worked a schedule and stuff, I said, it's just hard. And I said, you don't understand it. And I said, this job is a hard job. There's times you run, and there's times that you have some downtime. And I said, I don't want to be made to feel like that I've got to be running and doing and have a broom or pushing a can or toting something or doing something, all day long. I'm not going to wear myself out physically like that, because I'm going to work here many years. And I said, I promise you, I will do a lot better job if you will tell me what you want and what your expectations are and allow me to do that. and you'll get a whole lot better job out of me. And they said, okay. And we ended up with the best relationship, good relationship in that. And, you know, it was just communication. That's all it was, communication. And if you don't have anybody that you're working for that's not respecting you like that, you know, it's not good. It's not. And a lot of times, you know, there are people that won't listen. And if you have those, you know, that's something personally that you're going to have to deal with. I can't tell you what you should do, but handle it in the best way that you can. And if you have to move on and do something else, I guess that's a decision that you would have to make personally. But one thing to remember, guys, is this right here. You're Raymond and Cleaver, I need you to really listen to this. It's not just one thing. We got the whole place, the whole building. We have in 5 minutes to go out of this room. We're going to leave here, and we're going to have to go out there and do it again. We're going to have to take out garbage. We're going to have to dust mop halls. We're going to have to clean some commodes, because we know as soon as those kids get back, it's going to be blowed up.